I sold this army for 350 bucks. Hey guys, Jay here, welcome to EonsOfBattle, and you probably saw the video last week where I painted up this whole army and then Nick and I sold it on eBay, $1 bidding, no reserve. And it went for $350, which is not great. It was a fun experiment. We wanted to try it out. We wanted to see if we could make some money and what an army would go for. We had the squat box, we painted it up, I painted it up. I painted it up like to my standard. I really love this army and we're gonna put it in a box right after this video and send it to the person. But 350 bucks. I think there's a lot of reasons for that, a lot of good reasons for that. We did it a very, very silly way. And really that's all we wanted. We just wanted to do something fun and we can take the hit, I guess. But I learned a lot painting this army. I really do like the squats. I didn't love the squats when Games Workshop was coming out with them, but now that I have read the codex and I've actually put together and painted all the models, I do think the squats are really, really cool. They have a fun, it's a thing that Games Workshop kind of does with a lot of their alien factions, especially the Tau and definitely the squats, is the squats are a lot more like our humanity than like the Imperium of Mankind is to our humanity, where the Imperium of Man is grim and dark and like sort of Victorian, sort of medieval, sort of Roman, sort of like it's just a hodgepodge of like historic things with the grimdark dial turned all the way up to 11. The squats are essentially humans who way in the past visited other planets and kind of colonized them, and it's a lot of their ideas and tropes that go along with them are kind of scientific ideas that are happening now. The idea of world ships where people will have whole generations of people will live and die on this ship as it makes its way from planet to planet. The idea of having artificial intelligence help their society along by like being ultra Google that has the answer to all of their problems and can help facilitate things. They're clones, but they're not like all clones of Jango Fett like in Star Wars. Like the AI has all of the DNA of the squats and kind of twists and tweaks it and then pumps out these pod babies to kind of be what the squats need to be. And the squats live at the galactic core of the universe, really close to the black hole. And that is, why they're squats. They're very short and dense because that's where they live. And nothing else can live there, and that's why the squats have existed so long in the Warhammer universe without any of the other races kind of knowing about them. Except the orcs. The orcs are the other race that can actually live at the galactic core, and probably the Necrons, although it could be possible that the extreme pressure from the extreme gravity force from the black hole just makes it not worth it for the Necrons to live there, even though they're made of necrodermis, they're made of metal. The squats are specifically engineered through the use of their AI companion to the Votann. That is what the Votann is the AI that kind of guides and shapes the race of the squats. And so there's some really, really cool stuff going on with the squats. But I really enjoyed painting them all up, and then we put them on eBay. Some of the things that I think hurt us is not having any feedback on our YouTube store, or eBay store. I thought that might not be that big a deal, but maybe I spend way too much time on the Facebook Marketplace where you're often dealing with first-time buyers, and usually just doing a reverse Google image search on their listing is enough to tell you like, okay, this is at least a unique picture that is almost certainly their own picture. But on eBay, maybe people just see that, zero feedback, not gonna bid. Bidding on a huge army, probably not a great move. It would probably have been much smarter to at least have the bidding start at $200, which is how much the Leagues of Votann army box cost. That probably would have at least guaranteed us. I mean, we made more than 200, we made 350. And honestly, maybe 350 is about what we should have expected, because this is a very weird thing to buy. It's not a full Warhammer army. It's the start of a Warhammer army, which is kind of what it's meant to be. It's the army box. And so if one lucky person did get these models, they're kind of stuck because, maybe you can play like a 500 point combat patrol game with them over and over. But as you add things, you're probably not going to be able to replicate this paint scheme, or at least replicate this paint scheme to your satisfaction. So you're going to have this stuff, which looks really good, if I do say so myself. And then you'll have your stuff, which is either unpainted or is just kind of Although the lucky winner of this will have a video tutorial to go along with this army of exactly how I painted all this stuff. So I really hope that we absolutely made somebody's evening. Because we were pretty disappointed. It was just the anticipation, the gambling, the question, what is going to happen? We had no idea. It could have been amazing. We could have made like $1,000 because we just caught the right person at the right time. And I think that's another kind of problem we ran into is with kind of all eBay auctions in general is you need the right person at the right time. It could be that if we had posted this army on eBay the week prior, Henry Cavill might have been thinking about getting a squad army. And so he might have decided to just buy this for 10 grand, or maybe the week after we posted it, there could have been somebody hunting for their new squats. Another problem is I just made up this paint scheme based on what I thought I could do really well in a short amount of time. And so it's orange and blue with red heroes. And orange is there's a Leagues of Votann league that is orange, but I don't think it is this specific thing. So it probably would have been a lot smarter, even though I didn't want to. It probably would have been a lot smarter to actually paint up the squats, just following the generic box art and having them be the squats from the thing, so that if people wanted to add to the collection, it'd be very easy to have that commissioned or to just probably paint it up yourself following the Games Workshop's tutorials. So there's a lot of things that we did wrong. I buy a ton of Warhammer on eBay, but I always buy stuff either new in box or on the sprue. Very rarely built or painted. Usually if I'm going to buy something built and painted, I'm kind of going to buy it from like the Facebook Marketplace from just somebody, where eBay is a little bit more like a store. Like I'm buying something that I would buy at like a friendly local game store. And so the perfect customer might see this and be like, oh my God, I must have that. But I think the majority of people would probably see that and it's like, oh, it's painted, I don't want it. Oh, it's painted in colors that I don't like, I don't want it. Oh, I don't like the loadouts that they gave on the unit, so I don't want it. Like, there's a lot of boxes that we needed to tick, and this doesn't necessarily tick them all. It also could be like if this was a Space Marine army, that price would have gone up because maybe a lot more people are hunting for Space Marines. I mean, almost certainly because Space Marines are the most popular thing that Games Workshop makes. And even though the squats are the new hotness, I don't know if they're the newest, hottest thing that would get us the cheddar we were looking for. Also, when I paint, I am always painting for me. I've done a few commissions in the past, and I've sold some of the models that I painted, and like I sold an entire army that I didn't really care for anymore. But I do like painting for me. I don't have that thing that commission painters have. It's kind of the difference between like a craftsperson and a collector. I think I'm more of a collector where I like to have all of the things because I love the stories that it creates. Like, oh, I got this guy at my friendly local game store, and I remember talking to the store owner if a taco was a hot dog or if a taco was a sandwich, which it obviously is, and we got into a whole thing, and then I got the box home and I put it together while watching The Empire Strikes Back. Like, it kind of, all of these little things that go into it build on themselves, and it builds the satisfaction for me. And then, like, when the model's done, I often will just carry models around the house and just kind of look at them because I just get a lot of satisfaction. And then just having them around is really nice. It all tickles the collector brain. And so when it comes time to part with my models, it's not fun. It's sad. I don't like it. It makes me feel bad. But a lot of people have more of a craftsman mentality where the joy and the satisfaction comes from the building and the painting. And once it's done, that satisfaction is kind of finished for them. And so they have no problem putting that stuff, selling that stuff to the world. And that's amazing. That mentality, I super respect it. And I think it's really, really cool. And it leads to some really, really cool stuff. I mean, I follow a lot of artists like that. I mean, Vulpin Props is a really big one for me. they can just make so many beautiful, amazing things, and then just being able to say goodbye to it is amazing. I don't have that ability in me, I don't think. It's putting these guys in a box. I mean, I don't I don't super want to play with a squad army in Warhammer 40k. I'm much more attached to the armies that I've been collecting since I was in high school, but I do like them, and I like having them around, and I like looking at my HQs that I tried out some new paints on. I did try out some new paints. I have been trying out fluorescent paints because I thought they were a gimmick, and they are. And I bought them for with a video in mind, like, oh, these paints are kind of gimmicky and dumb, and I'm gonna paint up some models with them, and it'll be bad. And I did some testing around with them and playing around with them, and they are bad. They don't behave like your typical paints. They're very, very transparent. They actually don't love to survive on a wet palette. I think they have whatever resins or mediums are inside of them. They just don't. It doesn't seem like they're as water-based as standard acrylic paints, and so they tend to dry up on the palette. But painting up these squats, what I've learned is that they are beautiful for glazing. With these HQs, who I painted red so that they would stand out a lot more from these other squats, and so that they would stand out in the listing so that we would get a lot more money, I painted their armor very dark red, and then I highlighted it up with Games Workshop's Wazdaka red, or whatever their Evil Sun Scarlet, whatever their bright red is, which I really like. And so that pumps up the colors a lot, but then just doing little glazings of fluorescent orange, it really, really made them vibrant, because fluorescent paint, I don't remember the exact physics of it, but they do reflect more light, and so it does look more striking. Also, if you shine a blue light on it, it looks super crazy, which is the gimmick of fluorescent paints. But I don't want my models just to look cool under a weird blue light. I want them to look good in person. And so fluorescent paint, glazing of fluorescent paints really, really works out. I also glaze fluorescent paints on all of the little gems from Epic Basing. They make really cool stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna be playing around a lot more with fluorescent paints. It's super, super boosted the vibrancy. I might go and grab some of my old minis that I painted very colorfully, but I don't think they didn't end up exactly where I wanted them to. And so I think I'm actually gonna practice glazing more fluorescent paints on those models to see if I can get a little something extra. Because looking through my painting collection, there's a lot of darkness and drabness, which makes perfect sense for 40k, but I do like things to pop and to be very vibrant. And so if I can figure out easy techniques to add a little bit more of that into my armies, I think I will definitely want to go for that. So these squats taught me the value of fluorescent paints. They're actually pretty darn good. I've accepted, I have found it in my heart to be able to move on. And so I'm not gonna buy more squats, or well, maybe the Hearthkin, the Necromunda guys. Games Workshop needs to bring these guys to Kill Team. Can't believe they haven't done it already. You've been able to buy the Necromunda squats for a long time, and they have all the weapon loadouts and things you would expect for a kill team. So super easy to just drop a white dwarf and have the rules for the squats in that, and then we could all start playing with the Hearthkin in games of Kill Team, but Games Workshop hasn't done it yet. I imagine if they don't do a white dwarf kill team soon, they're probably going to put the squats in one of the doubles boxes. They're doing quarterly kill team doubles boxes with the terrain, with the Into the Dark terrain. And so maybe they're gonna have the squats versus something else, but I almost can't really imagine them doing that either, because they just put all of this this advertising work into promoting the squats, and the squats finally arrived, and you could pre-order them, and now you can just order them in general off of the Games Workshop website. So it'd be weird to do it again and try to get people hyped on the squats again. I don't really know. Games Workshop is impossible to figure out. I have no idea what they're doing or what they're up to. But I do really like their models, and this box is pretty nice. Very similar to the Squat Combat Patrol. The Squat Combat Patrol trades out, I think, one squad of Hearthkin Warriors for the shirtless buff guys. And you know, we could all use more shirtless buff guys in our lives, so no complaints there. But the Hearthkin Pioneers, I was pleasantly surprised with these models. They are a lot of parts, and they take a long time to put together. But Games Workshop did something that I didn't expect them to do, but I very much appreciate, is they attach to the base by a rock, essentially, but that rock is pegged into one of these floaty wheels. And so you don't have to attach it to the rock, and you don't have to connect it to the base the way Games Workshop wants you to connect it to the base. I pinned my guys to to these lovely epic basing bits. And so now they look like they're really floating and doing some cool maneuvers. And it was really easy to do because Games Workshop didn't force me to use any particular attachment system. And I'm very glad that they didn't try to put these guys on the 60mm flying stand bases. I don't know when the last time they came out with a model that used one of those, but I hope that they never do ever again because they are truly, truly terrible. I think the worst offender for those bases were the Necron Ghost Arcs. The Necron Ghost Arc is a monster of a vehicle, and having it all teeter-totter on that one little acrylic flying stand that always broke off minutes after assembly, garbage. I think Games Workshop came out with a very clever mechanic for these Hearthkin pioneers, and I like it a lot. I hope they keep doing stuff like that. The actual infantry, pretty good. A lot of parts. It's kind of like a very similar number of parts to Space Marines, but on a body that's like half the size of a Space Marine. These squats are teeny, tiny little fellas, which actually probably did help with painting because physically less stuff to paint or physically less size to paint means that the painting goes a little bit faster. Also, great transfer sheet. Games Workshop has kind of been moving away from transfer sheets over the past decade, and so it's really nice to actually get a good quality transfer sheet. Maybe another reason why people weren't super interested in this army, although I doubt people got this far down the checklist of things that would have turned them off, is I actually put 2 different types of squat symbols. So technically one of the shoulders is for one particular league of the Votann, and the other shoulder is for a completely different league of Votann. I think this side should have been, green, and then this side should have been white. But I don't know. Please leave in the comments all of your ideas of how to take this idea, painting an army and selling it on eBay, and what we could do to make that, to try to get more money or to have a more interesting outcome. Because I think $350, it's not, I would have charged more if I was doing this for a commission, but I think $350 is a reasonable amount of money to dump this on eBay and find somebody to buy it. But I know there's a way to get the exact right product to the exact right customer. I think maybe finding like a tournament winning army list and then just building that exact 2,000 point army and then putting that on eBay. That might get a lot of more people percolated because they're like, oh, well, if I buy that, it is everything I want and everything I need to start winning right now. I mean, I think my nemesis Sean would probably be interested in that listing. Or somebody else had a great comment on our video doing kill teams. I love a good kill team. I can knock out kill teams pretty quickly. So maybe the move is, instead of doing one humongous thing, doing a few little things. I think I see a lot of people on eBay doing that already, where they'll have like 10 kind of hero models all painted up beautifully. And so maybe not all 10 sell if only 4 of them sell, but if 4 of them sell for $100 each, you probably would have made more money than trying to sell all 10 of those guys in one lot together, because there's just more. You're putting out more feelers into the world as opposed to putting all of your eggs, all of your squat shaped eggs in one basket. We will do this project again, not in this exact format, although it would also be kind of interesting. I wish, without having to do any of the work, I wish I could just know, like, okay, I tried to do the exact same thing with the Orc Combat Patrol, and I made $350 again. And I did the exact same thing with the Space Marine Combat Patrol. That one made $500. Like, it would be really cool to have that data, but I don't want to do all the work again, just trying out the same exact parameters. I want to tweak those parameters. Maybe starting a new eBay store and then like secretly selling some stuff to try to get some positive feedback on that store, just to see if, like, selling another thing, but with an eBay store that has like 3 positive reviews, maybe that is a huge boost. I mean, based on the comments we got, that was like people's number one thing, is like, you guys are big old dummies, which we are, big old dummies for having 0 feedback, brand new store, which I think is probably very true. Another big problem is eBay is really for getting a deal. I mean, if you wanted to buy something, you would go to the store and buy it. The reason to go to eBay is because you want to pay the lowest amount you possibly can to get the thing that you want. And so I don't know if there's a better way out there. The bidding is fun because it's gambling. It's watching that number. It's the mystery of what's going to happen. And so bidding is fun. not smart for doing something like this because we invested a huge amount of time and energy into getting the listing ready to go, and then it's all of it is resting on that 1 week. That 1 week, and if Henry Cavill's not on eBay that week, we are out of luck. So I love this concept. I love the mystery, the intrigue of what's going to happen, but I think we need to tweak the parameters and try out some different things, and I'm very excited for that. Although I will have to say goodbye to some more of the models I paint, which will be fine. We'll be fine. I'll have some hot cocoa and it'll all be okay. I loved this experiment and I'm really excited to do it again. Although, you know what else I really love and I'm excited about? That's right, our Patreon. Over there, we have lots of new miniatures, both miniatures and terrain, ready to populate your wargaming tables, all hosted by Comics, Games, and Things. We also make one extra episode of Eon's Battle every single week where we take a look at our viewers' miniatures and we give them some critiques on how to improve. And we have a live Discord hangout where we all hop into a room and chit-chat the night away. And we have a new tier where you can get your name on one of my Black Templar Space Marines so that you can have your Space Marine have a really fun name like Dr. Pooh. And we have merch, link in the description. Good old The Leagues of Votann, selling for $350, which is probably reasonable, but I mean, we have like 30 hours invested in this army, so we paid $200 for the box. That leaves us $150 to spread between all of the time. It's fine. It's fine. We had fun. I keep telling myself that. Anyway, thanks for watching.